This move is that classic Allen Iverson crossover. It is the step, shoulders, head, cross. Hey everyone, welcome back to Balanced Basketball Academy, and today we're talking about AI. That is Allen Iverson, one of the best dribblers to ever pick up a basketball, and one of the foundational masters that has kind of built the Kyrie Irvings, the Steph Currys, the Jalen Brunsons, the guys you see today who are crossover masters. A lot of them were learning this stuff from Allen Iverson way back when. So we're going to take a look at some of his best crossover moves, break down exactly how he goes about making those crossovers, and how you can apply them to your game, even though it's 15, 20 years ago when these crossovers were first introduced. These still work on many, many different levels of basketball and still work in the highest levels of basketball today. So, for those of you who are new, my name is Jordan. I was a former college basketball player. Now I'm a trainer, and today we're breaking down some film. Before we get into it, I just want to ask, please subscribe to the video. It'll help push this channel out of the pits of the algorithm right now. It's been a little rough for us. So anything you can do to help the channel helps me. Thank you very much. It doesn't cost you anything, and I much appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. This is going to be one of the most pixelated things that I've probably ever shot. Some of these clips are hard to look at, but I'm going to explain it as best I can. So, with this particular play right here, right? The first thing that he does is a very simple pullback cross. He notices that the defender's hands are high, they're not into his space, as in low, right? So he can make that crossover in front of his body without an issue. If the defender has his hands really low, like when he's reaching in, as he's, stumbling backwards, doing a crossover in front of somebody is not a great idea. What you would want to do instead is behind the back or between the legs. In this case, he makes the right read, just crosses in front. It's an easier move. So, you don't have to complicate things unnecessarily. Once he does that, again, remember, he's attacking to the basket and pulling back. You have to fully commit to that attack to the basket and pull back. Because of that, the defender is, I'm going to play it all the way through. The defender ends up in this really backwards position right here because he's trying to stay with him. Then after AI, pulls back, he hits him with that little inside out because he recognizes the defender's off balance. A lot of times when the defender's off balance, they are not necessarily in a move where you can score. Like that player was still recovering, albeit stumbling. They just need one more move to push them over the edge. So sometimes in order to get an ankle breaker, you don't need one move, but you need two. Oftentimes with ankle breakers, you need more than one move. Allen Iverson's crossover is really famous for that step cross, right? It's a step cross. It's not cross or step cross. It's step cross, right? Because the reason why that sort of move works is because when you have that first step and that second step, it looks like you're step going to the rim. That's what it looks like. And then so when you make that cross, it's a subversion of that expectation. Here we have that he is so famous for that crossover because, again, it works. Your brain thinks he's going one direction because he's committed 2 steps already in that direction. Step, cross. Then he's low, right? He's low into it right there. The only thing that I can say, if I were to be critical of this, is while this move works, once you make that crossover, don't have a lot of space between you and the defender. So here, he makes that crossover. The player jumps, albeit, right? The player jumps thinking he's going to go that way. But once you make that crossover, if you can get into their body as you're going by them, instead of going the long way around, you give them less of an opportunity to recover. This is not really like a perfect example of that, but it's just something I wanted to bring up. This is a really interesting play. This play does not start very well for Iverson right here. He catches the ball. He's being guarded tight right away. The defender's taking up all the space that he can. and then he stumbles. So then it's like, okay, I gotta reset. Now the defender's on the attack. He retreats. He's trying to get space so he can cross over, so he can get some room to work. He's not being given it. He's forced all the way out to half court. So what he decides to do is he's like, okay, I need to get this guy moving really hard in one direction, and then I'm going to cross in the other. Because right now, I'm not being given any space to just cross as is, or to be able to move one way or the other. So he stops and pops. Good. Okay, now he's got some space. This is the first time he's been able to breathe the whole possession. Now he can attack. Now he can actually make moves because he's not being suffocated. He attacks, and this is a really tough move. I guess I'll show you. Typically, he'd attack right? And then he would pull back with the lead foot, or he'd pull back behind that way, or he'd pull back behind that way, right? He'd do one of those, where he's stopping with that lead foot. What he does instead is he stops with the opposite foot, which is really an awkward thing to see as a defender, where he stops here and then goes there. That's normally not the way people will do a pullback, where they'll go here. Instead, he's stopping here and crossing over that way. It's just something defenses aren't used to seeing, and it's also a very difficult move to do, like, stability-wise. I hope you enjoyed my demonstration. Right there. That's essentially what he does right there, where he's stopping with the left foot instead of the right foot, which is not what a normal stride looks like. See, that's a more traditional pullback, where he's pulling back with the same side foot. Like I showed earlier, he's pulling back with that same side foot and just makes that really smooth move. Here's my hot take. I think that of the three different types of pullbacks, there's the pullback cross, there's the pullback between, there's the pullback behind. The pullback between is the one that is easiest to get into a jump shot from. I might be wrong, and that's my personal subjective hot take. I think that the ball falls into my pocket easier when I'm able to go with a clean between, whereas behind, it's a little more effort to get it back around. With a cross, sometimes it's hard to get the ball all the way back in front like that. It depends, but I personally think that this is one of the cleanest and most protected ways to get yourself a pullback. Boom, right there. And then, obviously, the step over, I'm not going to miss that. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, everybody has seen this move before. And if you haven't seen this move, and you're seeing it for the first time on my channel, I'm truly honored. This move is that classic Allen Iverson crossover that we just talked about. It is the step, shoulders, head, cross. Okay? He's putting all those things together to sell the cross. It's really, it's quicker to just step and cross, right? And not sell it with the shoulders, not sell it with the head, not sell it with the body. But then nobody's going to fall for it. And Jordan falls for it here not once, but twice. And Allen Iverson needs two moves in order to get Jordan out of his sight as far as getting the shot off. So, step, cross, Jordan recovers. Step, cross, Jordan doesn't recover. That's when Allen knows that he can hit that shot. Look at him. He's got his hand in the crossover dribbling lane, right? But he misses, right? Because he's backpedaling a little bit. He thinks Iverson's attacking, so he doesn't commit to it. If he'd kept his hand in there, in that cookie jar, he might have gotten a steal. Now he recovers. He reaches again, but now he thinks that Iverson, that first move was a fake move. The second one's real. He's going to come. And, yeah, he gets beaten. It's the same move twice. Right? So it's step, cross, step, cross, into it right there. And again, James Harden is somebody who is guilty of this, where he will make the same move a bunch of times, and you never know which one is the real move. And so that becomes a really weird guessing game for defenders, where you're like, which between is the one where he's going to attack? And this is the same concept, where if you get the defender playing guessing games, ooh, you've won. And I think that's a good way to finish. That is the end of my, ankle breaker breakdown, crossover breakdown with Allen Iverson, one of the best to ever do it, and kind of one of the forefathers of the crossover move, and getting that to become something that's, you know, really prevalent in basketball today and has only been taken to a higher and higher and higher level. So I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of retro throwback video. Hope you enjoyed, you know, some ankle breaker breakdowns. I like to continue to do these, and, you know, let me know if there's anybody else that you want to see from me that gets broken down. I got a couple on the list, but I'm open to suggestions. And for those of you who've made it this far, like, subscribe. It's only a couple of clicks, and you help the channel out a lot, and I definitely appreciate it. But regardless, thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate all of you, and have a great rest of your day.